I wanted to get into what it is that has happened to both boxing and Floyd Mayweather, because I'm assuming that most people who are watching Floyd Mayweather, one of the few names in boxing that still somehow matters because there are very few of them, comes out of retirement at 49 years old. We're assuming, right? Everyone's assuming he needs money, right? Nobody goes back into the game of possibly being hit and embarrassed in front of people simply because they love boxing a great deal at the age of 49.
He's probably incredibly confused why someone keeps selling his mortgages. He probably has a dozen homes and 36 different people holding his mortgages lately. That's why he's fighting.
It's the price of blow pops that has brought him back into
I'm sure all of it.
Fighting.
And he doesn't look, from where I was sitting over the last 20 years, didn't seem like he was like super fiscally responsible. This is the least surprising thing ever.
Well, you say it's the least surprising thing ever, but can you, Jeremy, just look up for me, okay, the amount of earnings that we're talking about here? Because while, athletic money being blown is a bit of a cliche, there are very few athletes ever who have made the kind of money that Floyd Mayweather has made. And because he's the best in the history of pay-per-view at making sure that the money ends up in his pocket. He is, or has been, a businessman as an athlete that almost doesn't have a peer because he owns all his own stuff as an independent. Your spending has to be so fiscally irresponsible to lose the amount of money that Floyd Mayweather has lost that it is almost beyond anything that is reason. It's not merely fiscal insanity. It's something that doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. And another sign of him maybe in financial trouble is, as of February 2026, Floyd Mayweather has initiated a massive $340 million lawsuit against Showtime Networks and former executive Steven Espinoza. So he's trying to get some bread right now.
The estimate is that he made over $1.2 billion over the course of his career in just earnings from fights.
Yeah. I think a question, though, that you should also ask outside of, like, how much has he made is how much has he spent, Because I would say he's fully capable of spending close to $1 billion in the last 25 years.
You say that, but I not to turn into the movie Brewster's Millions from the 1980s. It's hard to spend that money. It really is hard to spend that much money and end up in a situation where you have to fight at 49 because you're so used to a lifestyle that brings in giant amounts of money that the only way for you to make a giant amount of money is to do what he's presently doing, which is something that somehow will make money because people will still want to watch if Floyd Mayweather can lose, because that's where he made his $1.2 billion. He made it in us watching to see if he'd lose.
I don't even think, it's just celebrity boxing is so popular because we are obsessed with celebrity culture, and this is the rare reality show in which we can see people fight, Like, oh, wouldn't it be awesome if this celebrity got in a fight with this celebrity? Look at the views that Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise AI video did just because, wow, what an awesome fight between two super famous people.
Celebrity deathmatch.
Yeah, Mayweather doing the exhibition fight with Tyson, who, literally almost died the last time he tried doing this in his training against another celebrity, and doing it against Pacquiao, who, them two together, that has cachet. That certainly has a big value, and I think people will watch it well into their 60s if they decide to keep doing it.
Well, but the thing that I'm pointing out, though, is that at 49, he would have no other way of making this amount of money in one place, because it is an enormous amount of money that he will make, though it pales in comparison to the previous amounts that he's made. But I remember telling you guys here when I saw it on South Beach at the height of his earning, right? He and his crew walk into a place that's crowded. It's by the pool. It's a pool party. And one of the guys just takes out of the duffel bag $10,000 in cash to get it for a handful of beach chairs by a pool. And I remember saying at the time, and I felt judgmental saying it, but I'm like, that's exactly how you go broke no matter how much money it is that you've made. But Jeremy, while you're looking up 1.2 billion, I'd love to know any athletes ever who have made that amount of money, because the boxing game is so corrupt, right? That Don King ran the boxing game, and one of the ways that he ran it is he just puts the suitcase with $1 million cash in front of Muhammad Ali. He just puts it in front of Muhammad Ali and gets him to sign it over for the fight in Zaire that's going to make him a lot more money than it ends up making Muhammad Ali. When you hear that that Floyd Mayweather is going after Showtime, and because money in these contracts doesn't end up going straight to him, even though he thinks that it does, $1.2 billion still represents more than Tom Brady is going to be making from all of his ventures, even with a $375 million contract for the last 10 years. Like, $1.2 billion as an athlete is such a staggering amount of money to blow that I'm going to guess that you're not going to find a whole lot of athletes ever who have made that kind of money.
Well, and that was just career earnings based off of fights. Like, that had nothing to do with endorsements. So when you look at endorsements and things like that, you had Cristiano Ronaldo, you had some of these tennis players, but like Juan Soto right now signed a $700 million contract. Shohei Ohtani, $700 million contracts. Those are sort of the largest that you would find just in terms of the on-field product. But when you add endorsements, Ohtani's right up there near the top as well, also only making $2 million for the salary right now.
And he could be super fiscally responsible and just see a huge pile of $100 million lying around and say, well, this is pretty easy. Tyson almost died the last time he tried doing this against a YouTuber. I think I can hold my own there for a little bit, and I'm not too threatened against Manny Pacquiao. It's not like his life is in danger taking to the ring here. It's one of the most defensive fighters of all time, going against guys that are well past their prime for an easy few mil. I get it. He's probably looking at this saying, like, this makes the most sense.
Right. He also spent heavily on luxury goods, including a $402 million 60-building acquisition in New York, on top of just carrying around $80,000 in Louis V backpacks, in which he was caught spending $500,000 in Louis V in one sitting. Back to you, Dano.
The real estate ventures, I've heard him brag about the real estate ventures. You mentioned $400 million. It's supposed to be an investment. That's not supposed to be money lost. That's supposed to be something that accrues. That's a place to put your money so that you continue to make money with your money. It is. I'm not kidding you when I say it's really hard to blow $1.2 billion. And when you get to 49 and have to do this, what do you imagine 60 is going to look like for Floyd if he cannot get his spending in order because he's gotten used to a lifestyle that's asinine?
I don't know if it is that hard to spend as much money as he spent, given all of the handlers that always take percentages of entertainers' gross figures. You've got publicists, you've got managers, you've got promoters. They all want a percentage, and then you have a fiscally irresponsible life, and all of a sudden you're broke. So I think it's all of the people that suck at the teat of an entertainer, an athlete, etc., that makes it really easy to blow through that, plus taxes.
Mm-hmm. And who knows what his tax situation is. That's an excellent point by Trissa, where the internet gathers he's generated $1.3 billion. He's probably looking at taxes, handlers, managers, fight promotion fees, saying I've actually cleared like $450 million, which is a lot more plausible for him to actually spend.
There are 11 athletes, according to Sportico, that have ever made over $1 billion, and this is including endorsements. But the bottom two on that list are Phil Mickelson and Floyd Mayweather. Now, Phil Mickelson, as well, someone notoriously not exactly great with his money.
Well, but in those instances, we were what's been reported is that he was also gambling enormous amounts of money, which is different. When you guys are saying it's easy to spend $1.2 billion, I'm again going to tell you that it's not quite as easy as you. We are talking about the most fiscally irresponsible athlete there has ever been. Ever if he can blow this amount of money. There's never been anything close to this kind of fiscal irresponsibility in the history of sports, because I'm guessing all of the other people you're going to mention there, Jeremy, aren't having any issues. They may have tax problems. They don't have to come out of retirement at 49 for another big payday because they've gone through all of that money.
I think Mickelson did.
It could be a coincidence, but Floyd Mayweather is smack in the middle of Neymar and Phil Mickelson. Yep. Those three guys gamble a lot. They wager a ton. There's a famous internet video of Neymar on a poker app while his daughter's being sung a happy birthday.